will win the petition. Even our own members, our own supporters, they were not convinced. Even if you tried to assure them, no, don't worry, it will be fine, we are winning, they still couldn't believe it. So it also affected, the mobilization of all sorts of support services needed for an election. We are literally relaunching or restarting or resetting. But we'll get there.
Right.
Their intention was to cripple us. They thought, they would succeed, but they haven't succeeded. The case was very clear. They had no case from the very beginning. But it's sad. Do we have to go to these lengths for our people to offer themselves for leadership, which is a constitutional requirement? The Constitution of Zambia requires citizens to participate in the governance of the country. Even our Christian faith requires us to participate in leadership, especially for the Catholic. It's a sin to withhold your contribution if you can make it. So it's very, very sad. We don't need to go through this. And it costs money.
Right.
Usually the Con Court does not award costs. So each party meets its costs. So it means we had to take a lot of the resources needed for the campaign to legal services.
I can imagine. Now, Dr. Membe, this issue that you were facing comes at the back of nearly 5 years of no campaign opportunities to you in the opposition. So given all these circumstances put together, would you think that perhaps this has given, an undue advantage to the ruling party?
Yes, it has given them an undue advantage, but that advantage is simply advantage. It doesn't guarantee them victory in any way. It was a desperate move that will backfire. People know what they have done. People have seen the way they have governed the country. People are aware of their lack of respect for the liberties and freedoms of others. People are aware of their attempt to stifle opposition, to stifle dissenting voices, to criminalize political participation. And it went even against their own promises. They promised to repeal the Public Order Act. They have not. 5 years has passed. Even their attempt to do so was disastrous. What they put in that bill was disastrous. That was not an appeal, a repeal or an amendment for better. It was an amendment to strengthen or to worsen the situation. Even Hichilema himself got ashamed in the end or got scared because there were consequences.
Now, so you reckon that the president's, refusal to assent the Public Gatherings Act has nothing to do with the fact that he doesn't, agree with what came out of that?
No, there's nothing. That bill to go to Parliament, it passed through Cabinet. It passed through him. It's a fallacy to pretend that he did not know what was going to Parliament. That was his bill that he sent to Parliament. He is the chief of the executive. It's the executive that sends the bill to Parliament to legislate.
Right.
It did not start with Parliament. It's not a product of Parliament. It's a product of the executive led by himself. That was his own bill that he took to Parliament. It's unfortunate that that bill failed. He just chickened. He got scared.
Right. Now, we only have, as of tomorrow, 55 days remaining before Zambia goes to the polls. I wish to know, and obviously for the record, what really sets the Socialist Party and the People's Pact apart from the rest of your peers? Why should the Zambian people give you a chance this time around?
There are three major components to this election. There is the component of the UPND that is governing the country today. There is also a component of the PF groups that ruled the country before the UPND. Then there are other parties that were not part of that or are not part of that in the middle. So the choice is either to stay with the Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND, or to go back to Marabo and pick what you had dumped in the garbage dump, which is the PF groups under the Tons and the Pamosi. Those are PF. So that's the choice Zambians face. Or to chart a new path. Going back to the PF is not change. Retaining UPND is not change. The only real change that will come is to choose the third category, to which the People's Party and the Socialist Party belong, among others.
But that doesn't really give comfort to the voters. Why shouldn't they pick UPND? Why shouldn't they pick UPND? What are the angelic programs? What are the unique, innovative programs that will compel them to cast their vote on you come 13th August 2026?
They have seen what Hichilema and the UPND have done to this country. And I don't think they're happy with it. They also saw what the PF did up to 2021. And they are still aware of the reasons for which they removed them from power. They were voted out. The behavior of the PF in government is what led to the behavior of the PF, the UPND today. This behavior is not unique. It came from the embryo of the PF. The excesses of the PF in power led to the UPND to behave this way. Of course, we expected the UPND to behave differently. Zambians voted the UPND to behave differently from the way the PF behaved, politically and in terms of economic practices, and even on corruption. But the UPND has made it worse than what the PF did. There are alternative policies. The challenges that the Zambian people face today are complex. The poverty levels are so high. You have average national poverty of above 60, almost closing to 70% today. You have rural poverty standing at 78.8%. You have urban area poverty standing at 35.9% to 31.8% today. These are very high poverty levels. And given that we have such a high population growth rate of 3.5%, it means the population is continually increasing at a very fast rate, such that in 15 years' time, 12 to 15 years' time, the population of Zambia will more than double. We have 22 million people today. In 12 to 15 years' time, we will have not less than 44 million. These people need to be housed. They need housing. There is no housing today to cater for 22 million. We have a deficit of about 4.5 million houses. What program is there today that is being offered by the UPND, that is being offered by the PF under Tonse and Pamosi? What about education? What about health services? We are battling with these services with 22 million people. What programs do we have to cater for that in 12 to 15 years' time? The PF groups have also no clue on what needs to be done. They were there, they left these problems. We have a debt burden that the PF left, and the UPND has increased at an alarming rate. Yes, there's the issue of debt restructuring, but even the PF was just waiting for the elections to start a debt restructuring. Had they won the election, they would have gone for this, a similar debt restructuring. So there's no difference between their policies, and they do not have, we have read their manifestos, both of them. Those are not manifestos to get us out of these huge, gigantic challenges the country faces. We have civil servants today in a debt trap. They were in a debt trap, they got into a debt trap under PF. Under the 10 years of PF government, it's when they got into a debt trap. The situation is worsening for these civil servants and other workers. None of them has a program for getting them out. PF created this problem, and they have no clue even to today how to deal with it. The UPND is profiteering from it. Those who lead the UPND today are the owners of microfinancing institutions, impoverishing the workers. So read their manifestos, listen to their speeches. They have nothing to offer other than just singing and dancing. This country will not be taken out of its problems by dancing at rallies, by singing at rallies, by sloganeering at rallies, by issuing threats at rallies, and making the most noise. They say empty tins make a lot of noise, and we are hearing it from both of them.
Two questions arising from your submission. Number one is on the issue of debt restructuring. What's the position of Socialist Party and how you're going to address this? It's already there. It has increased, as you have said. It has ballooned. That's question number one I'd like you to address. The second question is, again, what you have alluded to on the aspect of the civil servants, swimming in debt from 1 month to the other. Nothing to save, nothing to invest. How do you hope to address this, lived experience for most civil servants watching you right now?
Civil servants are not in debt because they are careless with money. They are not in debt because they are living beyond their means. They are in debt because the economic situation forces them to be in that debt. Most families today have very few members working or earning something. The levels of unemployment are too high. More than 50% of our young people who are supposed to work are not working. They have no jobs. So it means one who has a job, either in the civil service or in some other businesses, have to look after so many people, have to look after so many mouths. They have to feed so many mouths. They are forced every month to live beyond what they earn. And that is aided by debt. So on a payday, they have to go back to Kaloba and borrow again. Some of the civil servants are owed money by government. They have 800 or so leave days. They have settling in allowances and all sorts of allowances that they are not paid. The government has not paid them. If they can be paid that, at least it will be a relief. But beyond that, you have to improve the cost of living. Improving the cost of living means people should have access to affordable foodstuffs. They should have access to affordable transport. They should have access to affordable electricity. If you don't deal with those things, it's impossible to get them out of this.
Right.
Wages have to be increased. There has to be an understanding or an agreement among the government, the trade union leaders, and the employers. There's need for a tripartite meeting to address this issue.
And on the aspect of our ballooning debt?
When you owe people money, for you to be able to pay, you have to increase your income. If we don't increase our income, the debt will become irrepayable. And it will keep on growing. This government is giving away taxes, tax holidays. We had the mineral royalties at 6%. They slashed them by 50%. They gave away 50% to the mining companies. Take, we don't need this money. Go and invest. Have they invested that money? They went and started borrowing. You give away your income faster. 50% of your income, you give it away. Ero waya mukukongora. Ushemuli amano nanguluse. Kindness is not like that.
Right. Now, talking about the performance of the UPND, they've presided over some controversial decisions. Case in point, there was uproar, outrage, including from yourself, in the manner in which they handed KCM back to Vedanta. You're talking about the tollgate concession deals with regards to the dual carriageway and the involvement of NAPSA investment in that, and so many other controversial decisions that they've made, perhaps in the interest of bettering our economy, bettering our nation. But there's been counter reactions to these decisions. What's your position on some of these issues, given a chance by the Zambian people to take over administration of this nation in August? How are you going to look at some of these issues that you personally and your party have regarded to be a little bit more controversial?
Mr. Hichilema is scared of the decisions he made. That's why he was telling people in Southern Province that if they vote for these independents, they may impeach him. Impeach him for what? What has he done that is so scared of being impeached for? The only discernible things he has done is the decisions, these controversial decisions they're talking about. They are scandalous. Some of them border on corruption. And he's worried about them. In addition to that, we also have the controversial amendment of the Constitution. Nobody today can say with certainty who voted for Bill 7. Up to date, maybe you can correct me, Pastor, have you seen the printout of how they voted?
No, I haven't, and I have that at a later stage. We will address it.
Yeah. So these are the things that is scared of. These are controversial decisions. There are people who believe that actually Bill 7 did not pass through. There are people who believe that. And justifiably so. Why should they refuse to release how each MP voted? The Zimbabweans were voting on the Constitution. Immediately after voting, they have released how each person voted. What is the problem here? If they did the right thing, why? These are the things worrying Mr. Hichilema about impeachment. And indeed, if he did these wrong things, he will be impeached. And he should lose sleep over it.
While you are at it, a few days ago, the president did take a swipe at some of his former members of parliament in the ruling party. He alleged that they voted against Bill 7. Now, this is against what is publicly held, that the passage of Bill 7 was unanimous. Against this backdrop, to date, as you have rightly pointed out, the National Assembly has not published that particular voting record. I need for you to comment what this does, the inconsistencies around this matter. What does it do to the integrity of Parliament?
If indeed, as Hichilema claims, these members of UPND did not vote for Bill 7, then who voted for Bill 7? How did Bill 7 pass? How did it pass? Let him release the voting list. But how come he is the only one who knows how Parliament voted? He's not a member of Parliament. He's not an official of Parliament. Why should Hichilema alone know how members of parliament voted, but the rest of the country we don't know?
He's the president.
Where does it say he has got the privilege to see that? There's a separation of powers. It's not part of the legislature. It's not part of the judiciary.
Today we have Access to Information Act. Perhaps it guarantees him he can request and they can avail it to him just like you could request.
Okay. For the sake of the public, I'm requesting you, Pastor, I'm begging you, go using the same procedure Hichilema used. Go and get the list for us as a journalist and feed it to the public. They should give you the same way they gave Hichilema. Are they going to give you? Let's see.
You earlier talked about the fears that the president might be having, and hence you're quoting him based on his public pronouncements that you in the opposition, you are sponsoring the independent candidates, and I need to put you on record, Dr. Membe. Are you sponsoring the independent so that you can come and fight President Hichilema in an event that he wins, because that's what he said in Southern Province, and you have quoted him as having said so?
Let Hichilema deny that him and his party have been paying candidates of the opposition to resign and leave his candidates unopposed. Let him deny that. Let him deny that. They are all over enticing people to resign. They have offered some of our candidates huge amounts of money to resign.
It's an accusation you can stand by?
I'm not accusing him. I'm saying let him deny. I'm saying let him deny that him and his party are not sponsoring opposition candidates to resign.
Right. Now, most people...
Let him deny what he told his members, party members, in Chinsari when he went there, about what I'm saying. He held a meeting. His own members have told us. He has told them to destabilize our members, to cripple our campaigns. He told them to deal with the Socialist Party in that manner.
In Chinsali?
In Chinsali, in a closed-door meeting.
Right. I mean, since we are talking about this is campaign and all the tactics that are going on, there is yet another video where the president has promised weekly money allowances to his structures. Is that all right? Are you also perhaps, it's okay to fund structures. You're not buying vote. It's nothing against the electoral act and the rules that govern. How do you perceive what has been put on record? We have watched the video of the president promising his structures money weekly, which money was not going to them before the election. How do we absorb this reality as a nation within the context of the laws that govern the elections and within the context that you opposition members need to fund the functionality of your structures? Where do we draw the line?
But Pastor, let's put the laws aside. Let's look at the amounts of money. What are those amounts of money going to be used for? Who is going to get that money and for what? Are they trying to buy leadership of this country? Are they trying to buy elections? The amounts that I saw, if it's what you're talking about, they are huge. What is that money going to be used for? Why wasn't he giving that money to the UPND structures all along? that money, if indeed what we saw is true, is for nothing but buying votes, buying elections. Is that right? Is that the way we should practice democracy? Tuli mu makwebo. It's like trading now. Is an election a business? Where money should change hands just like that?
Maybe it has to go beyond manifestos.
I don't know how to explain it, Kanavesa.
And it speaks to the poverty levels you talked about.
Yes. Yes. But ikyalo ekita twashitire. Ikyalo ekita kyakushitisha. Obutungulushi obwa kyalo kyesu tebwakushitisha. Nga mwatampa okulashita obutungulushi, okulashitisha obutungulushi obwa kyalo. Mwishi byate ikyalo nachipwa. Ikyalo nachonaika. This is not leadership Hakainde is exhibiting. Some of us where we come from, we don't worship, we don't pay to be installed leader. Even in our churches, in our traditional structures, we don't pay to be installed as leaders. So Hichilema is introducing another new type of leadership, where you buy leadership. Is that the way it should be? Because it should explain what is that all money for. When you look at it at the end of the day, someone is estimating that it will come to about $50 million spent in less than 3 months.
Where would that be?
2 months.
Where would that money be coming from?
Shifumine kui, sir. Let him account for where that money is coming from. If it's from his businesses, let's see how that money has left the business. If it's coming from his businesses, let's see how it has left the businesses and what taxes have been paid on it.
Now, most people hold that Zambia needs healing instead of divisions and perpetual persecution of those who previously held office. Listening to you, it does come across as if you are saying Zambian people giving you power, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema must account for his decisions. I'm wondering, do you see a departure from this public concern under your leadership?
I'm of the view that we need a departure from the way we have handled the wrongs of the previous regimes, because it has not worked. Starting with the way the Chiluba regime, the corruption of the Chiluba regime was handled, what did Zambia get out of it? Other than further polarizations. We can address the corruption of the previous regimes, but not in the way we have been doing it for the last 20 or so years. Things can be done differently. Laws are laws, but laws were not made for retribution, for vengeance, no. In fact, the fight against corruption should start with the current government, your own government. The first people to go to jail for corruption will be people from our own government. We have no right to go to the leaders of the previous regime if we are not dealing with the corruption of our own. They say don't go and try to remove the log in your friend's, the speck in your friend's eye, leaving the log in your own. So we will start with our own corruption. If we did that, that will give us the moral right to deal with everybody fairly. The way we have handled corruption issues has been counterproductive. And it leads to just polarization and polarization, as you say. Nobody should feel victimized politically. But those who commit crimes should answer for them. Should answer for them.
Right. Now, governance broadly has been a major concern by most citizens, and they feel like the lines as far as the doctrine of separation of powers are becoming blurry. How do you hope to restore public confidence in institutions of governance? You just questioned me on whether or not I knew how the president got access to the records at Parliament when he's in the executive. That's the legislature. There's a meeting of minds, and there's a huge concern by most governance experts. And would you give confidence to the Zambian people that the Socialist Party under your leadership will restore this lost confidence in institutions of governance?
We need to broaden governance. Power needs to be shared with others. We have been consistently saying that the politician alone cannot govern this country effectively, efficiently, and in an orderly manner. And the politician is not the only leader of our people. We have other leaders of our people. We have the traditional leadership. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have the religious leadership. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have the business leadership. We have the trade union leadership. We have the leadership of the cooperatives. We also have the intellectuals and the professionals like yourselves. You are also leaders of our people. You have to participate in the governance of this country. If you don't, there will be a deficiency. The deficiencies that you are seeing today. Even in Europe, even in England or the UK, where we copy a lot of things, the politician is not governing alone. The head of state is the traditional leader, the king. Then you have also the religious leadership of the Church of England. The Church of England is part of the state apparatus in the UK. Then you have the House of Lords, where citizens who have excelled in various fields come to offer leadership to the country, come to offer direction to the country. Then you have the House of Commons, Kuchintu Wing, where the politicians are and are elected directly by the people, led by the Prime Minister. That's how they are governed. It's not just the politician alone. Here we have left everything in the hands of the politician. Even the media has been weakened, completely decimated. The media's ability today to hold the powerful accountable has diminished considerably. The media today is not setting the agenda.
I can defend KBN.
I'm talking about the media in general. The media is not setting the agenda today for public discourse. The media is not asserting itself in terms, of leadership or construction for the country. It doesn't have the muscle to do it. The financial resources of the media are too low. The Zambian media today is on its knees. If we don't change and empower the media to be able to hold the powerful accountable, holding the powerful accountable means that the media should be financially and politically independent. Without the financial independence, it's difficult to maintain the journalistic independence.
Who is going to fund the media then? To the extent that they should be independent?
Who funds other institutions of the state?
We have seen the media that is funded by the state, Times of Zambia, Daily Mail, ZNBC. Have they been covering you? And are you comfortable with the fact that they are funded?
Who owns them? Who controls them? They're
the
controlled
state.
from State House.
That's what you are saying. It must.
No, by the taxpayer funding you does not mean the taxpayer controls you.
So how are you going to make this different?
It's the way you channel the funding. These models are already in place in many other countries today in the world, especially with the advent of the social media. The online media, the social media has hit the traditional media badly. The traditional media today does not have money to train journalists. We were training journalists every year for 3 months. Most of the journalists operating, the senior journalists operating in Gambia today, were trained personally by myself under the post. We were training journalists every year for 3 months. Some of the people who went through those training programs, it's Joseph Membe with News Diggers. I trained him personally for 3 months, among many others. Who is putting in money? Is Zamcom today operating, training journalists? So the taxpayer should fund the improvement in the quality of journalism. You don't have the money today as KBN to train journalists to that extent. Where are you going to get the money? Where is the budget going to come from? And it's not only the media that needs a contribution. The traditional leadership also should take part, should take a share in the taxes paid by their subjects. Even under the native authorities, it used to be like that. My NRC says, Chief Nkula, if I'm paying, say, 1,000 kwacha pay as UN, a small percentage should also go to my chiefdom. A certain percentage also should go to my church, to the Catholic Church, to run the church, because the church is not just there to take me to heaven. It's also contributing to our way of being here. So the church needs to be funded by the taxpayer from the taxes of their members. The traditional leadership also needs a share of the taxes of their subjects. The media also is performing a social function. It needs a contribution from the taxes of those who receive the services or use the services of the media. We can't just be coming here. Who is paying for this? If we, the taxpayers, don't pay for it, who is paying for it? Even if you asked us to pay here, do we have the money? If we don't, we'll lose the media. If we lose the media, what are the consequences? This is not just a business. It's not an ordinary business. You're not selling widgets. You are making a huge contribution to the governance of this country. It's not just a business to enrich yourself, no. And how much money are you making? Look at the stress that you are going through to just keep this station going. Should you run this alone? No, it's a partnership. It's a partnership with the Zambian people.
I'm very happy that I'll get a check from Socialist Party after this. Since you're proposing to fund the media, we will start with tonight.
I'm saying the government, from the taxes we collect from the people.
Right. Now, Zambia is going through a number of challenges. I'd like to know what would be some of the priorities of the Socialist Party and the People's Pact when the Zambian people give you a chance to run the affairs of this nation. What would be your top priorities to fix this nation?
The top priority is to ensure that people have access to food, affordable food. But Pastor, people can't live without food. They can't live without food. Today, the great majority of our people are struggling to have just one meal. One meal, Yashupa. If we are the sixth hungriest country in the world today, that's not a small thing. Number 6 in the world, Kunsara. Compared to countries that are at war. We are even Western countries at war. If people can't eat, there are problems. Children become malnourished. The small ones, even the brains get damaged. Due to hunger. Hunger kills. Hunger destroys. Insalano kusevanya ila sevanya. That's one top priority, to ensure that our people have got access to food. Some of the immediate things we will do is to remove VAT on cooking oil, put a ceiling on the price of meal. We'll put a ceiling on the price of meal. Why? We subsidize it. The taxpayer subsidizes production of maize. It's not produced, without the taxpayer's contribution. The third thing is to set a proper wage of dignity, a dignified wage. There must be dignified remuneration to labor to enable people to live. This will not be done arbitrarily. Business, the employers, and the trade unions and the government need to sit together and come up with a dignified wage. Today, miners, unskilled miners, are paid 2,800 kwacha. For all that difficult, for all that challenging work. The skilled ones are paid 4,300. That's what they're earning. There's no housing, there's nothing. And most of these are employed by contractors, labor contractors. There's no proper pension scheme. Look, urban poverty today, averaging 31.8%. That's average poverty, urban poverty. Rural poverty, 78.8%. 78.8%. These are not figures from my head, they are from Zamstats. These are Zamstats figures.
Right.
Poverty in Lusaka, the capital province, 27%. From 20.2 to 27%.
It's gone up.
Yes. We have to ensure that our people have got access to food before anything else. The third thing, we have to ensure that electricity lasts a bit longer. The units they buy should last a little bit longer. It has to be done. We are subsidizing electricity that is going to the mines. What about the people? What about the people? You are giving them subsidized electricity to the mines. You are removing the mineral royalties taxes.
And ZESCO has said they are cautiously beginning to export power. Do you think we've reached stabilization, equilibrium level that we can go back to exporting of power?
Have we stopped importing power? Can I say that we are still importing power? We are importing power from Mozambique.
Why must we be exporting?
There are some people making money out of that. You import, you export. The same commodity, the same item, the same service. What does that mean? Let them explain to you. They are importing power and they're exporting power. What does it mean? What is the rationale? What is the logic? We need them to explain to us.
Let me take you back to our topic, your views on the elections coming up. We have, as of tomorrow, exactly 55 days to go. When you look at the process from the nominations that you went through to the legal battles that you faced, I think the activities of the electioneering started while the electoral process bill was being tabled on the floor of the House. What is your appreciation of how ready and fair we are handling these particular elections?
But Pastor, elections are not only assessed over a period of 30 days, from nomination to election to polling day. You look at elections from the last election all the way to the next election. What happened over the last 5 years? That's how you determine whether the elections you are getting into will be free and fair. What space, what atmosphere prevailed over the last 5 years, from 2021 to the time of the nominations for these elections. The opposition was not allowed to organize. The opposition was not allowed to mobilize. The opposition was not allowed to agitate. And to motivate voters. We were not allowed. We applied 34 times to hold a rally. 34 times. We were given 0 chance to hold a rally. They were stopping even meetings of our structures. Ward meetings were being stopped. Constituency meetings were being stopped. District meetings were being stopped. Provincial meetings were being stopped. How do you mobilize? They were saying go to the social media. They had all sorts of excuses. Under the PF, we applied 17 times. We were given 2 permits. We held one rally in Kitwe, the other one in Osaka. Under such conditions, can you say these elections will be free and fair? There were a list of observations made by observer missions, including the EU. They made recommendations. How many of those recommendations that the UPND government committed itself to dealing with, including the Public Order Act, have been fulfilled? We are getting into these elections with the same things the UPND, when it was in opposition, complained about and promised when they want to address. They have not done so. Same thing they were complaining about when they were in opposition. Can these elections be free and fair? No.
But they still won, and it doesn't mean that because you've gone through what they went through, you cannot win.
Yes, you can win still. But winning an election that is not free and fair doesn't justify the putting up of such impediments. The fact that you know you can overcome obstacles does not justify the putting of obstacles along your way. It doesn't justify it. You can win against all odds. It doesn't justify the presence of odds, especially if they can be avoided. These are not ordained on us by God. These have been created by ourselves.
And you could say against all odds, you are ready.
We have no choice. What choice do we have? We resign ourselves to this fate and accept that, a kind has been ordained to rule this country forever and ever. Amen. No. Injustices have to be fought against all odds. And fairness has to be struggled against. Abuses have to be challenged, regardless of the consequences of the odds. If we resigned ourselves and say the environment is not conducive, so we are not participating, what are we doing to the country? What are we doing to ourselves? Would that be the right approach? To say all of us tumuleke ateke because the atmosphere is not conducive. The odds are too many and too hard to overcome. So lekena kainde ateke. That's what he wanted. He would be very happy.
Let me press you against your comfort, and this is my last question to you, Dr. Membe. You know, and I'm speaking hypothetically. If the ruling of yesterday went otherwise, you are saying injustices need to be fought. What would you have done?
It's a very difficult one. To think otherwise. One would have no choice but to accept the decision of the court. What did you do? That's the apex court. There's no court above that to go to. You can't say our appeal. We would have to live with that consequence and participate in these elections in the best way we could under the circumstances. We have candidates. We have candidates who are councillors. We have candidates who are council chairpersons, mayors, and MPs. We would have had to support them to the best of our abilities to win.
This means it gives comfort that after all, there is hope within the judiciary, regardless of the opinion held by most people at the moment.
There is hope in every institution if we struggle to make those institutions deliver. We shouldn't lose hope. Hope is what we need to live as human beings. Hope makes us bigger than we are. Hope gives us strength. It gives us the determination to struggle on. If we struggle with determination and without respite to make these institutions function, they'll function. The efforts you have put on the decisions of the judiciary probably are starting to pay off in one way or the other. You yourself, Pastor, you have not kept quiet about the wrong decisions, the poor decisions that have been made. You have been speaking about them. We are dealing with human beings in those institutions. Let's struggle. Let's put pressure on these institutions to deliver to our people, to deliver to us as per their constitutional mandate. If we do, we'll get better institutions. If we don't and slope off, things will only get worse and worse.
That's the People's Pact presidential candidate, Dr. Fred Membe. We can only wish you all the best.
Thank you.
As you head towards the elections in the next 55 days.
Thank you very much.
So there you are. That's State of the Nation for you tonight. And I have been hosting the Socialist Party president, who is also the candidate for the People's Pact, Dr. Fred Membe, sharing with us his sentiments around the elections coming up in the next 55 days. Until next time, the Lord bless you and keep you. Bye-bye.